Creators of Yugoslavia faced many problems from the beginning. Yugoslavia was the land of South Slavs, but South Slavs weren't really united. Yugoslav nation had to be built. In 1929, King Alexander used the political crisis to establish royal dictatorship. This is known as 6th January dictatorship. King Alexander made huge changes in the state. He officially changed the country's name to Yugoslavia. Up until 1929, the country was called Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes. Yugoslavia wasn't a federation. The state had to be divided into administrative units to facilitate governing. I will focus on these subdivisions called banovina. What is banovina? In medieval times, banovina was the land governed by ban. Ban was title used in Croatia and Bosnia, translate as duke in English. Serbs didn't use title ban. Instead, Serbs had župa, territory governed by župan. Serb leader was called Grand Župan, which often translates as prince in English. Interesting fact, Serbs have epic poem about a man called Banović Strahinja. Banović is patronym and suggests his father was a ban. In theory, this might mean that Serbs also use the title ban. We are not sure because historical sources never mention ban in Serbia. But again, there aren't many sources left. In 1929, King Alexander established 9 banovinas. They were named after main rivers except for littoral banovina. Banovinas existed between 1929 and 1941. Banovina borders were intentionally drawn not to correspond to ethnic borders or historical borders. No one was happy about these borders. Banovina's borders weren't seen as natural or logical. Let's start from the west. Drava Banovina was named after River Drava. The capital was Ljubljana. Today, Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. In 1931, Drava Banovina had a population of 1,144,000. Today, territory of Drava Banovina belongs to Slovenia and Croatia. Sava Banovina was named after River Sava. This Banovina existed between 1929 and 1939. Later, I will tell more about the 1939 restructuring of Banovinas. The capital of Sava Banovina was Zagreb. Today, Zagreb is the capital of Croatia. Today, the territory of Sava Banovina belongs to Croatia and Slovenia. Littoral Banovina was named after the seaside. This Banovina existed between 1929 and 1939. The capital was Split. Today, its territory belongs to Croatia and Bosnia. Vrbas Banovina was named after river Vrbas. The capital was Banja Luka. Today, its territory belongs to Bosnia and Croatia. Danube Banovina was named after the river Danube. The capital was Novi Sad. Danube Banovina had a population of 2,387,000. The white dot represents Belgrade, which wasn't part of Danube Banovina. Today, territory of Danube Banovina belongs to Serbia and Croatia. Drina Banovina was named after river Drina. The capital was Sarajevo. Today, Sarajevo is the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Today, the territory of Drina Banovina belongs to Bosnia and Serbia. Zeta Banovina was named after river Zeta. Now I have to explain certain confusion. During medieval times, there was a state called Zeta. Zeta Banovina is not a rebirth of medieval Zeta. This area has many mountains and few rivers. Creators of Banovinas had to name this Banovina after Zeta or called it littoral too. The capital was Cetinje. Interesting fact is that Zeta Banovina included whole Montenegro. Today, territory of Zeta Banovina belongs to Montenegro, Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia. Morava Banovina was named after River Morava. Just to clear confusion, there are several rivers and villages in Europe called Morava. Now we are talking about the river Morava in Serbia. Why is Morava so popular name? Morava means water in several Slavic languages. The capital was Niš. Today, territory of Morava Banovina belongs to Serbia. Vardar Banovina was named after river Vardar. The capital was Skopje. Today, Skopje is the capital of North Macedonia. Today, the territory of Vardar Banovina belongs to North Macedonia and Serbia. Interesting fact is that Vardar Banovina included whole present-day North Macedonia. What about Vojvodina and Kosovo? Whole Vojvodina was included in Danube Banovina. Kosovo territory was divided between Zeta Banovina, Morava Banovina, and Vardar Banovina. What was the status of Belgrade? Belgrade was the capital of Yugoslavia and was an independent administrative unit. We can say that Yugoslavia consisted of 9 Banovinas and Belgrade. In 1931, King Alexander ended his dictatorship after proclaiming a new constitution. In 1934, King Alexander was killed in Marseille, France, by members of VMRO and Ustaše. VMRO was a revolutionary organization that wanted independent Macedonia. Ustaše were a revolutionary organization that wanted independent Croatia. Today, Ustaše are notorious for World War II killings of Serbs, Jews, and Roma. After 1934, Yugoslavia was in deep crisis. Serb politicians and Croat politicians were constantly bickering. They eventually realized that they had to work together if they wanted Yugoslavia to survive. In 1939, Serb Dragiša Cvetković became Prime Minister of Yugoslavia. He reached agreement with Croat politician Vlatko Maček. This is known as the Cvetković-Maček Agreement. The result is the creation of new Banovina called Croatia. This was the only Banovina constituted on the principle of ethnicity. Croats were majority in Sava Banovina and Littoral Banovina. There was a significant number of Croats in other Banovinas. It was decided that Croatia Banovina should include whole Sava Banovina and Littoral Banovina and parts of Drina, Danube, Vrbas and Zeta Banovina. For example, town Dubrovnik used to belong to Zeta Banovina. It was logical for Croats to want to include Dubrovnik into Croatia Banovina. Slovenes were majority in Drava Banovina. Bosnian Muslims weren't majority in any Banovina because their population was split between Vrbas, Zeta, Drina and Littoral Banovina. Many Serbs agreed with the idea of Croatia Banovina under terms that there should be Serbia Banovina. Serbia Banovina was never formed. This is how Serbs saw the future of Yugoslavia. They believed that there should exist 3 Banovinas: Slovenia, Croatia and Serbia. Hypothetical Serbia Banovina would include Banovinas with Orthodox Christian majority. These are percentages of Orthodox Christians in the Banovinas: Vrbas 58%, Danube 58%, Drina 65%, Zeta 56%, Morava 95%, and Vardar 66%. I have to point out that Orthodox Christians included Serbs, Montenegrins, Macedonians, Bulgarians, Greeks, Armenians. So Serbia Banovina is not Great Serbia. Hypothetical Great Serbia would include Serbia Banovina, huge parts of Croatia Banovina, and parts of Albania. We will never know if Serbia Banovina was a real possibility or not. Just 5 days after Cvetković and Maček signed the agreement about Croatia Banovina, the World War II started. Yugoslavia was nearing its collapse. In April 1941, the Axis attacked and destroyed Yugoslavia. All Banovinas were abolished and Yugoslav territory was partitioned. Between 1941 and 1945, there is no Yugoslavia. Croatia Banovina was never recreated. Today, its territory belongs to Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Serbia. Croatia Banovina had only one ban, Ivan Šubašić. Šubašić would become Yugoslav prime minister in exile. He is most remembered by Tito Šubašić agreement that acknowledged partisans as legitimate armed forces of Yugoslavia. In 1945, Yugoslavia was restored as federation of 6 republics. This so-called Second Yugoslavia didn't have Banovina as administrative units. Today, no ex-Yugoslav state has Banovinas. Serbia has administrative units called okrug. Each okrug is divided to subdivisions called opština, English municipality. Croats use the word županija instead of okrug. Each županija is divided to subdivisions called općina, English municipality. Some variant of the word opština is used across former Yugoslavia. What do I think about Banovinas? The reason behind establishing Banovinas was to erase divisions between people. Yugoslav citizens were supposed to forget about their ethnic origin and accept new Yugoslav identity. But the plan didn't work out at all. As soon as they had a chance, Croats demanded creation of Croatia Banovina. Even though Serbia was erased from the map, Serbs still had the map of Serbia in their hearts. I think experiment with Banovinas failed. Also, political situation in Banovinas was very different. Littoral Banovina had only 3 bans during its existence, but Danube Banovina changed 11 bans. This tells me that Littoral Banovina was more stable than Danube Banovina. One of the reasons why Yugoslavia failed is that people were just too different. We remained together because we first had royal dictatorship and then totalitarian communist regime. As soon as communism fell, Yugoslavia started disintegrating. This is one of the reasons why I am skeptical about the EU. Ex-Yugoslav nations showed they cannot live together. Then how are we supposed to live together in EU? Today, Banovinas are forgotten outside history classes. No one is trying to recreate Banovinas. I think the main reason is that Banovinas' borders were artificial. Since Yugoslav Banovinas existed for such a short time, people never developed special feelings for them.